Ready? Okay, we'll start. यस्मात् जातं जगत् सर्वं यस्मिन्नेव प्रलीयते येनेदं धार्यते चैव तस्मै ज्ञानात्मने नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। तैत्तिरीयकसारस्य मयाचार्यप्रसादतः विस्पष्टार्थरुचीनां हि व्याख्येयं सम्प्रणीयते। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ न कञ्चन वसतौ प्रत्याचक्षीत तद्व्रतं तस्माद्यया कया च विधया बह्वन्नं प्राप्नुयात्। अराध्यस्मा अन्नमित्याचक्षते एतद्वै मुखतोऽन्नगुं राद्धं मुखतोऽस्मा अन्नगुं राध्यते एतद्वै मद्यतोऽन्नगुं राद्धं मद्यतोऽस्मा अन्नगुं राध्यते एतद्वा अन्ततोऽन्नगुं राद्धं अन्ततोऽस्मा अन्नगुं राध्यते। य एवं वेद क्षेम इति वाची योगक्षेम इति प्राणापानयोः कर्मेति हस्तयोः गतिरिति पादयोः विमुक्तिरिति पायो इति मानुषी समाज्ञाः। अत दैवी तृप्तिरिति वृष्टौ बलमिति विद्युति यश इति पशुषु ज्योतिरिति नक्षत्रेषु प्रजातिरमृतमानन्द इत्युपस्ते सर्वमित्याकाशे तत्प्रतिष्ठेत्युपासीत प्रतिष्ठावान् भवति तन्मह इत्युपासीत महान् भवति तन्मन इत्युपासीत मानवान् भवति तन्नम इत्युपासीत नम्यन्ते एस्मै कामाः तद्ब्रह्मेत्युपासीत ब्रह्मवान् भवति तद्ब्रह्मण परिमर इत्युपासीत पर्येनं म्रियन्ते द्विषन्तः सपत्नाः पर्ये प्रिया भ्रातृव्याः स यश्चायं पुरुषे यश्चासावादित्ये स एकः स य एवंवित् अस्माल्लोकात् प्रेत्य एतमन्नमयमात्मानमुपसंक्रम्य एतं प्राणमयमात्मानमुपसंक्रम्य एतं मनोमयमात्मानमुपसंक्रम्य विज्ञानमयमात्मानमुपसंक्रम्य एतम् आनन्दमयमात्मानमुपसङ्क्रम्य इमान् लोकान् कामान्निकामरूप्यनुसञ्चरन् एतत् सामगायन् आस्ते हा ऊहा ऊहा ऊ अहमन्नमहमन्नमहमन्नम् अहमन्नादो होऽहमन्नादो होऽहमन्नादः अहग्श्लो ककृत अहग्श्लो ककृत अहग्श्लो ककृत अहमस्मि प्रथमजारता स्या पूर्वं देवेभ्यो मृतस्य न बायी यो मा ददाति सयि देवमा वाह अहमन्नमन्नमदन्तमामि अहं विश्वं भुवनमभ्यभवाम् सुवर्णज्योतिः य एवं वेद इत्युपनिषत्. So we are in this long last Anuvaka of the completion of Taittiriya Upanishad, Bhrguvalli. So last class we saw the fourth vratam. Na kanchana vasato pratyachakshita tadvratam tasmad yaya vidaya kas bahvannam prapnuyat. The whole idea of Atiti Satkara. The whole idea of how do you do the Atiti Devo Bhava. So that was the fourth life principle which was given in the 10th Anuvaka. Then what this Upanishad, it is going to close now. So it does something, another interesting thing. It brought a suite of Upaasanas. And the question is why? And what are these Upaasanas and what is this? I was just trying to understand why did Shruti bring this and finish the Anuvaka. Of course there is this song of ecstasy at the end of the day. That's okay. So this was my thought when I was trying to make sense of what is going on here. I think the more general question that came to my mind, perhaps that would be one way to look at, is I'm talking about a very general question. See, the charm of reading Upanishad is what we discuss in Upanishad can also be useful for our day-to-day living also. Vyavaharika also, although this is for Paramarthika, but the concepts are so good that some of these ideas may be useful for our day-to-day living also. So, there was a more general question which I thought it is trying to answer. How do we internalize an idea? This need not be Paramarthika, it can be Vyavaharika also. Question is, how do we internalize an idea? How do we dwell on it so much that we can live through the idea? This is a general question, na? I am a professor of operations management. Unless I do it, I'll never teach operations. There is a certain concept. I have to sort of, I'm sure every one of you in your own workplace, you have a certain domain or whatever we do, this question will come. Because knowledge is just an idea. At the end of the day, knowledge is an idea. Experience is only when the knowledge gets value. Until then it is a knowledge. So there is this question, how do I live with an idea and live through it, through that idea? How do we, in other words, the question that we are asking, which is a more general question, how do we transform a knowledge to experience? This is very important, no? Let it be Vyavaharika, let it be Paramarthika. If knowledge is not transferred into experience, it's an utter waste of time. Why should I memorize tons and pages and beat my chest, I know this shloka from Bhagavad Gita? I don't think there is any value in it. Or why should I say I've seen some people have this hangover. You say anything, immediately they'll quote. They will be able to. I mean, that's good. They have Kantasthiti, they have done. But I think the more important and more interesting question is, how does this knowledge become experience? I think it's a very, very important question. And we need to understand that. I think the Shruti Mata is getting there. Because when I looked at the Upasanas, I found an answer for this. I found the Upasana for that very reason. So, even in the materialistic living, we need answer for this. I have understood something as a piece of knowledge. How do I develop the expertise? Only through experience. And how do I transform the knowledge into experience? That's a big question that we need to ask. How do I transform the knowledge into experience? So, there are a few things which came to my mind as I was reflecting through these upasanas which are going to follow. First of all, nobody gets experience by gaining knowledge and committing it to their memory thoroughly. That may be only a first step. I can commit a few shlokas of Bhagavad Gita, maybe I can commit Taittiriya Upanishad to my memory. I don't think that is anyway knowledge. That could be a precursor for, what I mean is experience, experiential knowledge. Vijnana. Visishta Jnana is called Vijnana. It's not Jnana. We are talking about Vijnana. Visishta Jnana is Vijnana. So we are talking about how does the Jnana becomes Visishta, Vaisishtya. That is, it becomes more valuable. Otherwise, the knowledge is available in a book. It's available in a book, can be here also, e-book or a bio book or whatever you want to call it. What is the use of it? So first point is, nobody gets experience by committing knowledge to their memory. We are convinced of that. The only way knowledge becomes experience and valuable is we should be able to relate to it. See, how does this understanding happen? We start relating to it. See, that's how a 2-year child learns also. It observes. That's how it picks up its vocabulary. It keeps people saying, it also starts using it. Then it starts off, let's say all these parents is a 1-year child, 1.5-year child, one of the preoccupation is, where is the nose? It will touch the nose. Where is the head? It will touch the head. You are making sure that it is able to relate to the knowledge. So the next step in creating value out of knowledge is we must find a way to relate to it and relate to what we do also. Only then the knowledge goes to the next plane of experience in whatever ways it has to go. Then you need to link it to your actions. It's not just relating to what is, we need to be able to link it to the actions and thoughts and make meaning out of it. This is how the knowledge becomes experience. No? You connect it. See, if I learnt a new trick, I learnt a new calculus or something. Now this is the process I would have gone. I would have first learned the theory. I would have understood, this is how it is. Then I lay my hands. I will try it out. There is a worked out problem. I will try it out. Maybe a couple of problems are right, couple of problems are not. Then slowly that confidence builds. Now I am able to sort of understand. So the value, so I get more experience. Now if I get so much experience, I can teach somebody calculus now. Yeah, now I understood the nuances of calculus. This is what we do everywhere. So that's what a child also does. That's how the whole learning happens for any child also. So we need to link it to our actions, we need to link it to our thoughts and make meaning out of it. So why are we doing it? Because this is the only way we will build conviction of that idea. Because knowledge is just an idea. You have to build conviction. So we start building a conviction, yes, this knowledge indeed works, indeed exists, indeed makes meaning. So it builds conviction of the idea, provide us that snippets of experience also. We are able to see that really happening. So that wow factor starts happening in our own small little way. So it gives us that snippets of experience and eventually we immerse into it and it becomes the experience of the self. So many things that we have learned actually goes through this process. We might not have really dissected it in so many steps and looked at it one step at a time, but I am sure that is what it is. We would have passed through it. We can step back and then slowly look at it, and then you become more and more experience of it over time, then that knowledge becomes truly valuable and we live through it. Knowledge becomes a way of life rather than a piece of knowledge available in a book. So this is how we do in any knowledge, whether it is a materialistic world, whether it is spiritual world. This is the only way knowledge can happen. So that is what, Yajnavalkya told to his wife, Maitreyi, Shrotavyaha mantavyaha nididhyasitavyaha. Shravanam mananam and nididhyasa. So Shravana is just getting the knowledge. It's now available as a set of ideas. The manana is this process. This process is the manana. We are trying to make sense of it, trying to link it to something, try it out, learn out of it, clarify the nuances of it. That's the real manana. And nididhyasa is, as more and more we do it, we get deeply immersed into the subtleties of that particular thing. So that is what is the word, Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasam. So this is the process that anybody must go through it. So now, Shruti, what it does in Taittiriya Upanishad is, it has talked so much about Brahma Vidya. Brahma vid apnoti param, tadesha bhyukta, satyam jnanam anantam brahma. All that. The second chapter is the most important thing in Taittiriya Upanishad. First and third are Upaasanas, some living principle, nice things. But the Brahma Vidya is in the first line of the second chapter. That's all. Brahma with apnoti param. Full stop. The rest are all trying to explain it. Now the Shruti wants to tell, I don't want to leave this knowledge just like that with you. Now I will prescribe a suite of Upasana. That is exactly what is Upasana. Upasana is an opportunity to reflect on it, opportunity to try it out, opportunity to do the manana. That is called Upasana. That is exactly what is Upasana. We talked about it in the first chapter. In some detail I mentioned what is Upasana. Upasana is a method by which an otherwise incomprehensible idea. And why it is incomprehensible? Many reasons. For example, you can't comprehend India, so you can do Upasana on Indian map. An incomprehensible idea can be reflected, contemplated, understood on a proxy. Shaligrame Vishnuvat. Shankaracharya keeps saying this. That stone must remain Vishnu. Vishnu is incomprehensible for me. But that doesn't mean that's the end of the story. India is so incomprehensible, I will take a national flag. In the national flag, I will be able to comprehend India. So the very idea of Upasana is that. Upasana is a method by which provide a structured mechanism in which you superimpose something and repeatedly think about it, reflect on it, try to make sense of it, make meaning out of it. This is Upasana. And precisely that is what the Shruti wants to do when it closes Taittiriya Upanishad. It gives a set of Upasanas, okay? And what are these Upasanas? These Upasanas are saying, I talked about Brahman. Now you have to practice it. I don't want to leave it as a piece of knowledge and go. Then it is not making enough sense. So I will now tell you some ways of practicing it. That is what the closure of Bhrguvalli is there. So there are Upasanas. And it served in that process, it did something very important. I made this reference last week itself. If God and Brahman is a concept which is nowhere in my reach, I think we are wasting our time. Because nobody wants to do it for the sake of time pass. If you are told, I will tell you about something which you can never see, you can never experience. It is several light years away. It is not worth it. We don't have that much time to waste. God must be at our reach. God, if it is not at our reach, the concept of God is worthless. Please understand. It's not of any value. Now, how do you get it? So, the Upasana is actually reminding us, God is very much, it brought us into us. It brought us close to us. It brought us into us. That's what it did. And in the process, you try it out. Otherwise, these are all ideas for you. The knowledge and all, you thoroughly understand, read it a few times, you memorize it, understand the verbal meaning of it. That's not what it is. Translate it, transform it into experience. So for which it did. So in the process, it also brought Brahman close to you. That's the most interesting part. Otherwise, it's not worth it. So it brought Brahman close to oneself, into us. It brought us into us. That's what the last two Upasanas are doing. Okay? And it also links all ideas discussed in chapter 2 into live experience. Because what did chapter 2 say? It said Brahma with Apnoti Param. It said Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. It said, Brahman is the cause of everything, Karya Karana. It said, Bahusyam Prajayeti Satapo Tapyata Satapas Taptva Idagum Sarvam Asrijita. The creation process was explained. So a concept of Brahman was explained in many ways. You have to start putting the hook of all those knowledge into you and see it. Otherwise knowledge remains as knowledge. So that is what I think the Shruti is trying to do as it closes the Taittiriya Upanishad in the Bhrguvalli. And in the process of doing it, what it has done is it has taken these familiar 3 dimensions. It's called, Adhyatmika, Adi Daivika and Adi Bhautika. So Adhyatmika is that pertains to every Atma. Atma here, see, in Sanskrit, these words are all, you have to be very careful. That's why there is this raging controversy about Sheldon Pollock and all that. You can't just like that translate. So in alien culture, people will translate it in a different way. Atma means soul sometimes, it means Jivatma sometimes, it means Paramatma sometimes, it means Stula, Sharira, it means the physical body. Contextually you have to understand. The word is, my favorite example for that is the 6th shloka in chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita. Uddaret Atmana Atmanam Na Atmanam Avasadayet Atmaiva Bandhuhu Atmanam Atmaiva. Same Atma is used 6 times. Different meaning. Word is Atma. Uddaret Atmana Atmanam. Lift Atma with Atma. This is how English translation will be. And after you read it, you say all these are nonsense. Because how can you lift Atma with Atma? Don't let the Atma go down. Atma is your friend, Atma is your enemy. This is what the shloka is saying. So it is very important to know the dimension and the context and all that with which we have done. So anyway, Adhyatmika, here Atma means pertaining to the body and its faculties, and which includes Stula, Sukshma, all those. So Adhyatmika it took. Then Adi Daivika is celestial system that we have. And then Adi Bhautika, the large physical systems. So it took these 3 because Brahman is part of the creation process, it explained. In the second, Akashat Vayuhu Vayor Agnihi Agnerapah Abhyah Prithvi Prithvyam Oshadayah Oshadibhyonnam Annat Purushah. The whole cycle was described. So Adhyatma, Adi Devika, Adi Bhautika must come. So it is pulling all the knowledge, and now it is saying, I have told you all the knowledge, why don't you try it out a little bit through Upasana. So that's the background with which we will see the Upasanas. So the first Upasana is Adhyatmika. So which means it says, this is the mantra which we quickly saw and then we will see it properly now. Kshema iti vachi Yoga kshema iti prana panayo Karmeti hastayo Gatiriti padayo Vimuktiriti payo Iti thus. Contemplate thus. Contemplate whom? Brahman. That is implied. All these you have to understand because you have to read it from a continuum and then come to this understanding. Kshema iti vachi. Vachi, in the walk. In the faculty of speech. You understand Brahman to be Kshema. See the Kshema and Yoga, and then it says Yoga Kshema iti prana panayo. This prana and apana. See, now it has gotten to our level now. It says see Brahman in your own level. Why are you looking at some concept which is so abstract to you? So Yoga and Kshema has different meanings again. In this context, the meaning is Yoga is apraptasya praptihi. Kshema is praptasya rakshanam. See, there are 2 things. This I don't have. The other is what I have should be with me. There are 2 things, na? So that's a technical word. Ananya chintayanto mam yejana paryupasate tesham nitya abhiyuktanam yoga kshemam mahamyam. As Krishna said that. I'll take care of your yoga and I'll take care of your kshema also. But ananya chinta. Don't think about anything. Fix your focus on me. One who is willing to single-pointedly focus, I mean, I'll take care of you. This is what a 2-year child does. You go to the party, your party is miserable because the child keeps running. There is a road with heavy traffic. It has surrendered its responsibility to the parent. That's why it has now taken its hands off. Its Yogakshema is with its parents. Parents' Yogakshema is last. Because the child has to be taken care now. That's what Krishna is saying. You leave it to me. We are not willing to leave it. The Shraddha we don't have. We may read, you thoroughly understand the meaning of it. So that is the knowledge part of it. That's not the experience part of it. That's the knowledge part of it. He says, Ananya chintayantam ye jana paripasate. Such people, Tesham, Nitya Abhiyuktanam. 24/7 they are fixed on me. They say, whatever I do, Krishna Arpanam. Whatever I get, Krishna Arpanam. It's Prasada Sharanagata. I surrender myself unto it. I mean, I will do. Whatever I have to do, I will do. Whatever comes, I will take it with folded hands. Because you are giving me prasada. I don't even know the meaning of it. Good or bad and all. Why am I wasting my time? But that is not easy. Surrendering is the toughest part. Our ego will not allow us to surrender. Surrender is not at all weak. You have to be extremely strong to surrender. A weak person cannot surrender. Fear will overtake him. He says, don't surrender. What will happen if something happens? Surrender is not easy. Anyway, so yoga and kshema. So he says, kshema iti vachi. The speech, which is Badram, is there. You should be reminded of Brahman there. So you should see Brahman there. If somebody starts contemplating on this concept, that the speech is the kshema, and that is where I should contemplate Brahman, the first thing that will happen is speech will get cleaned up. Anudvekakaram vakyam is what he said in chapter 17 of Bhagavad Gita. Some people talk. Moment they open and tell the first sentence, your blood pressure will be 140 or 160. Udvekakaram vakyam. Whereas Krishna said, Anudvekakaram vakyam. Priyam hitam cha. He says, Vangmaya tapas. Vangmaya tapas will happen if we are understanding that the speech. On the speech I will talk. It's a very deep philosophical idea. That alone I am going to take. Otherwise I don't have references, I am not able to think. But on Kshema Iti Vachi I was able to think. But at least I should demonstrate one. These are not small things. It says the speech is an embodiment, the speech which gives you the protection is Brahman. Please see there Brahman. You do Upasana that this is the expression of Brahman. Moment you repeatedly think about it, the way we talk will change. The whole idea of talking will go through a dramatic change in us. So that is the first sentence. Kshema iti vachi. Yoga kshema iti pranapanayoho. Usura ಆಡಬೇಕು. ಕನ್ನಡನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಉಸಿರು ಆಡಬೇಕು. You should be able to breathe in and breathe out. The prana and apana are the fundamental enablers of acquiring and possessing anything. Moment it goes, there is nothing to acquire, nothing to possess also. So that very faculty of prana and apana is the tag, it is that proxy for Brahman. Brahman is one, these are all told in second chapter in some ways. Raso Vaisaha, that's what he said in second chapter. That's what one of the attributes of Brahman. So that's what it says. Every time you breathe in and out, you say, I am able to see Brahman going through it. Then there is a meaning to this breathe and the existence and our life existence. So all these will take you to the next level. Na? You repeatedly think about it, reflect on what this mantra is saying, why is they saying this mantra. It will take us to the next level of understanding. That's how the experience will come. So that's what it says. Yoga kshema iti pranapanayoho, karma iti astayoho. The action that you do with your hands, that action is a manifestation, it's a direct manifestation of Brahman. The moment you say that, your actions get very measured. Your actions make meaning now. I mean, this whole Upasana, amongst other things, it will make life meaningful to me first. The way I talk, the way I walk, gati riti padayoho. Walk means, again, food, walk, all these don't take the narrow meaning. Walk means walk the path of life also. That's also walking. So it will make a lot of understanding of life to me. Minimum, that is the first benefit I will get. Whether I realize Brahman, I mean, that's a journey. But my life makes more meaningful. My life becomes more meaningful. It says, Gatiriti padayoho. The various things that you have treaded in life, of course it uses the word pada, because it is trying to ask you to reflect on your own self. That's why it is using all those tags. But then what he's saying is the various paths that you have walked is an expression of Brahman. More and more you think about it and convince yourself, you are very careful in what path you tread in your life. If you are convinced of this idea that this is possible, Shruti has said it. So Shruti, Shankaracharya says in his Viveka Chudamani, Guru Vakya and Shruti. In this, if you are willing to believe, that is called Shraddha. Shruti has said, that means there is something to it. It will transform our life. Instead of asking this question, if we say there is a reference frame from which we operate our life, and the reference frame is credible enough, that might give a lot of meaning to what we are doing. So, Gatiriti Padayo, Vimuktiriti Payo. It points to the excretory organ and says that the process of liberation, things which are going, is also an act of Brahman. Brahman is there everywhere. See, this is what I was mentioning last class. This culture can never have this Bheda Bhava. Otherwise, you can't write these kinds of mantras. You say, oh, this is a dirty organ. That Bheda Bhava is not at all there in our thinking. That's why these kinds of references are coming. It brings an organ of excretion and says, contemplate Brahman there. Mahanyasa. Lagunyasa, Mahanyasa. Mahanyasa, you should see. Every organ of this body is on which we actually, first 45 minutes we actually chant it. Very profound. Actually, when you chant it, if you can close your eyes and go through the meaning, you will have a very different understanding of what is this Vyaktitva in a physical sense. So we never had Bheda Bhava. These are all, lower level, these are all higher level, these are all dirty, these are all. This world of duality is not part of Shruti. It is not part of this Arsha Parampara. That is why you can't say, people who are less informed, this is a raging conversation which is going on. It says, Uru tatasya dvaishya padbyagam shudro ajayata. Oh, what this thing? For Brahmins it is said, for Bahu Rajanya Kritaha. From the shoulders, these are people with Bheda Bhava will be able to read it like that. That's why Shankaracharya said that Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nija Antargatam. World is a mirror, you will only see what you are. If you have Bheda Bhava, everything you will read only with Bheda. Because that is your reference frame. That's the raw material. With your raw material, you can only do that. So it is just a way it has been written. Now you take it and then, this is all, this is one major conversation I have seen. Arsha Parampara was never, it says that difference between Brahma Bhava and Bheda Bhava is a difference between night and day. How can light and darkness coexist? Light and darkness cannot coexist. Where there is light, there cannot be darkness. Where there is darkness, there cannot be light. So Brahma Bhava and Bheda Bhava are mutually exclusive. Chatusutri, that's how Shankaracharya, Paraspara Viruddha Bhava, Kshetra Kshetrajnayoho, Vishay Vishayinoho, Tamaprakasavat Paraspara Viruddha Bhava. That's how he starts. Beautiful definition in Chatusutri on Adhyasa Bhasha. Because that is our Arsha Parampara. That's why these kinds of references are coming. An organ of excretion, genitals, everything is God. Because if you go to that level, this Veda, only then Veda will go. So all these are iti manushi samajnaha, meditation on manushi is adi devik, adhyatmika. So that is what it is saying. So minimum, kamsikam, if we seriously contemplate and do upasana of it, our life will become more meaningful. Our actions that we do, our thought, our speech, the kind of things that we do will go through change. Because Shruti has said it. Now I'll take Kshema iti vachi alone. Okay, all these can be developed in deeper if we do our own. On that I kept on thinking, I looked at some of the mantras, I was able to connect it, and so a little bit I'll bring on Kshema iti vachi just to show that these are very profound. We need to look at it in more deeper understanding. There is one Subhashita. Easiest meaning of Kshema iti vachi lies here. What does it say? Lakshmihi vasati jikhvagre, in the tip of the tongue. Jikhvagre mitra bandavaha. Much depends on what happens in your tip of your tongue. That's what it is saying. Whether you have friends and relatives with you is a function of how sharp is your tongue or how sweet is your tongue. That's what it is saying. Whether Lakshmi is with you is also depending upon your tongue. Kshema iti vachi. Lakshmi.
Also there is one who talks sweet has no enemies.
Yes. So similar thing. Lakshmi vasati jikhvagre, jikhvagre mitra bandavaha, jikhvagre bandhanam praptam. Your good relationships are on here. The tip of your tongue is your developing good relationships. Jikhvagre maranam dhruvam. For sure. The sharp tongue can be the end of your. So, in a lighter sense, this is Kshema iti vachi. This itself says that Vak can be a source of Kshema if the other three components are understood. Kshema iti vachi. But it says Kshema, such good things happen, it is element of divinity which is expressing. Understand it like that. It is an expression of divinity that you must be reminded of. Think of Brahman. You should. In fact, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, these people get into trance. How do they get into trance? Because they get this experience at that very moment. Perhaps that is what is happening. Kshema iti vachi, somebody talks, he will get into trance because he is connecting to Brahman. You have not been able to reach there. That's what it is. In Lalita Sahasranama, there is this beautiful mantra, Para pratyakshiti rupa pashyanti paradevata. Madhyama Vaikari Rupa Bhakta Manasa Hamsika. 366th Nama to 372nd Nama, 81st Shloka in Lalita Sahasranama. So there are four technical words here: Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama and Vaikari.
Levels of sound.
So our ancestors, see today when you read communication in a management school and talking about communication, we resort to only the sound level. What vocabulary, how do you speak? At this level only the whole discussion is. Whereas what this is saying, I mean, I have to explain it, it needs a lot of time. I am not going to get in there. All that, the genesis of the whole thing is, our understanding of sound. I am making a sentence now. The sound that you are hearing, which is the stula, this is the stula. The grossest form is this. That is called Vaikari. That is the last one. Vaikari Rupa. I mean, this mantra says the Devi is in all the four forms of sound. Kshema iti vachi, I am coming there. This mantra says Devi is in all the four forms of sound. What are the four forms of sound? Vaikari. Vaikari is the grossest form where it is all sound waves. Now what our ancestors are saying, this sentence does not come just like that. Doesn't come like that. There is a, Karana Bindu, which is in Mooladhara. This sound that comes, they have traced it in a particular way. It says every sound that comes starts from Mooladhara. It's a Karana Bindu. Then when it comes to Swadhisthana, it becomes Shabda Brahma. It first time it chooses to get to a level of a manifestation. So the sound is not just a simple process which you see at the front end. It is a four-part layer. So the lowest form is called Para. That which is in a Mooladhara, which is without shape and form. That's the Brahman. Which is Nirvikara, Nirupadi, Nirguna. Sound is also like that. That's a Karana Brahma. Then the Karya Brahma is the Shabda Brahma. It now says now there is a particular purpose and a Karya which has to be achieved, so it has to get a little stooler now. It has to become a little grosser now. So as this sound, the sound according to this Shastra, it starts from Mooladhara, it comes to Swadhisthana, and then it comes to the chest area, the Dakarakasha, that area. There it gets to the shape of. So sometimes you can think of a sentence, but you don't have to say, na? Yeah. That level. Upamsu is what they say.
You won't get words out.
You don't have to whisper also. But the sentence may be there. So it has taken the next grosser form. Right? That is called Madhyama. Then finally when it comes to the throat, then your, Siksham ya kya syama, all that Siksha will happen. All the signs of pronunciation will convert it into whether tongue should twist up or down, whether it's Danta or Lobial or whatever, Upadmaniya, Jihvamuliya, all those, then it becomes a sound. That is Vaikari. Now there are two interesting parts here. First interesting part is sound is not something casually coming from here. Sound is a Shabda Brahman which starts from a Karana Brahman. That is, so which means that is what it said, Kshema iti vachi. It said, understand every sound is Brahman manifesting in the sound form. That is one prayojana of this mantra. Another prayojana of this mantra is also saying that sound is not just this front end. There is a whole lot of process through which every thoughts that are happening converts into prayojana, and that becomes a Karana Bindu, Karya Bindu, and then Shabda Brahma, and then it becomes Upamsu, and then it comes out. So all those we can think. Moment you say Kshema iti vachi. Now, if every one of us think that the sound that is coming out of me is nothing but Brahman, if this thought engulfs me more and more, Anudvekakaram Vakyam will happen. Because to me, sound has become a very holy idea now. It is not, so this loose tonguing, this filthy talking, all that will become a thing of past. That is what is called an evolution of an individual. Evolution of individual is not an idea to be read and then memorized and then put it on the bookshelf and that's it. If anybody asks, I'll be able to recite. That's not evolution. Evolution is, does it change your behavior? Does it transform your vyaktitva? That is why all those mantras. So, Kshema iti vachi. And this particular idea is so profoundly said in 100 places. From Rigveda it is borrowed everywhere. Mahanarayana Upanishad also has it. It is in Rigveda. It's a very popular mantra. Many of us know it. Chatvari vak parimita padani tani vidur brahmana ye manishinaha guha trini nihita nengayanti turiyam vacho manushya vadanti. Same idea is told in Rigveda. This is Rigveda, it is there in so many, because all the other Vedas are borrowed from Rigveda only, actually. So Mahanarayana Upanishad has this mantra, which is part of Taittiriya Aranyakam only. After this, the next chapter is Mahanarayana Upanishad actually. It is part of it. So it says, Chatvari vak parimita padani. The word that comes out is actually a four form. The technical words are there, but it is saying that. And he says, Tani viduhu brahmanaha ye manishinaha. Manisha means thought. Manishinaha is people who are thoughtful. Those who are very intensely thoughtful is manishinaha. Manisha means thought. Ye manishinaha brahmanaha viduhu. Tani. They know these four forms. Therefore they will say Kshema iti vachi. Now they understand what is Kshema iti vachi. He says sound has four forms. The thoughtful people and the Brahmins who are so thoughtful about it, they know it. That's what Rigveda mantra is saying. Then it says Guha trini nihita. Three of them are buried inside. Obviously you don't see it. Guha trini nihita nengayanti turiyam vacho manushya vadanti. The fourth one people say speech. Manushyaha. Others who are not reflective of this idea, they always think this is all. They call it a speech. It is not speech, it is Shabda Brahma, which is an Avyakta Brahman, which expresses itself through a faculty called mouth. That's why Kshema iti vachi. So this much we can think. This much we can think for every one of that mantra. So these mantras are making us more self-regulating, making us more meaningful of ourselves. Secondly, it makes us remind of Brahman all the time. If you can't think of Brahman in everything that we do, Brahman will never be reached. Brahman will be studied, memorized and recited and all that. Experience will not happen. The experience is, as you do things, you should see Brahman. Na? That's the whole charm of this Vibhuti Yoga in chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna said, no point talking. Look me everywhere. That's the only way by which you will. That's why in this country we had everything was divine for us. If two rivers join, it is a divine idea for us. If it is a hilltop, it is a divine idea for us. If it is a majestic tree which can live for thousands of years, it is divinity for us. For us, every animal is divinity, so we converted it into what is called Vahana. Mahalakshmi is one of the Vahana is cockroach. So we wanted to wire it into our thinking. That's why we want to do Naga Panchami. Because these are ways to repeatedly remind to us that God's creation is everywhere and God is everywhere. You can't be talking about it and then get into a mass scale of I am alone there, everybody let me clean it up. Take a, hit and then hit the whole thing and finish it off clean. That's not what, that is why all these are very important. Those are the Upasanas. So that is what is coming through that Adhyatmika. Then he gets into Ata Daivihi, Triptiriti Vrishto, Balamiti Vidyuti, Yasha iti Pashushu, Jyotiriti Nakshatreshu, Prajatiramritamananda Ityupaste, Sarvamitya Kashe. So it has taken now the Adi Bhautika and Adi Daivika. For example, so Ata Daivihi, now he says, you try to do Upasana in yourself. And see Brahman in everything that you do. Your breath is Brahman, your speech is Brahman, what you do with your hands is Brahman, what you do with your hand is Brahman, your excretion and your genital, everything is Brahman. Genital is coming here. Prajati Ramritam Ananda Iti Upasta. Upasta is here. They have misclassified it and put it here actually. For whatever reason, it has just put it here. He says everything is divine. There is no room for a place where, I am reminded of this, one of these. There is this age-old Tamil poet called Avayar. There is a nice story about this lady. One day she was sitting in, this is a story. So, these stories need not be even have happened. Don't worry about it. The Sukshma is what for I see stories are for. So she was apparently sitting in a Shivan temple, in a Ishvara temple, with her both the legs stretched out. She was just sitting, old lady, very old lady, great, spiritual lady in the Tamil literature and so on. Apparently Parvati got very annoyed. In Ishvara temple, in front of you, she is actually stretching her leg. So let me go and sort it out. Ishvara said, be careful with this lady. But nevertheless, you want to do, it's alright. So Parvati comes to this lady. Why are you stretching your leg like this in front of Ishvara? So the lady replied, show me a place where Ishvara is not there, I'll stretch that side.
Even Nanak's episode is there.
So these are all men. Unless we are able to breathe divinity everywhere, divinity is not going to happen, it's an idea. See, for us, God is a very transactional idea. For most of us, God is a transactional idea. If you have some good luck, if you want to tell 12 coconuts, get things done. Artha Bhakta, Artha Bhakta. Chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita, Arti, Artha, Jignasu, Jnani, Chaturvita Bhakta me bhajante, Mom. He says, most of us are Artha Bhaktas. See, when I was a student, I remember, when I was a student, in my hostel, Trikala Sandhya Vandana, with all that I will do. My friends will all, look at like this. But, there is a time when I actually laugh at them. 10 days before the exam, half of my friends start sporting Vibhuti. I said, why are you now sporting Vibhuti? Or please tell me. Because it's Artha Bhakta. It's an transactional relationship. I think we need to transcend beyond that. So these are all meant for that. So it says, Triptiriti Vrishtav. That rain gives that embodiment of fullness and satisfaction. See God there. So rain is again God for you, because rain gives you that feeling of fullness and satisfaction. But rain is such an important metric for us to live. If rain is not there, how many silver candles you can burn? Up to a point you can burn your silver candles. Then there is no supply of silver candles also to artificially create rain. So he says, rain, when it rains, see God there. Because rain is a basic enabler of satisfaction for the Sakala Jiva Rashi. Understand, see divinity there. It's always nice to see the rain. So good to see the rain, but we can also add this dimension to it. That is why I think we love to see the rain. Rain gives us a feeling of, some of these natural things gives us a feeling of fullness. We may not, sometimes think about it. That's what it is saying. Triptiriti Vrishtav. In Vrishti you see Tripti as Brahman. That sense of satisfaction must remind you, here is the real expression of Brahman. We should be able to connect that. So unless we connect that, knowledge does not become experience. It is all hooks for us to connect. Balamiti Vidyuti. The power of the lightning and the thunder, and that mighty power must remind you of divinity. That's what it is. I remember one child asked me, what is nature? How do you define nature? Several years back. This is, what is nature? So I thought for a while, first I said nature is God, which was not convincing for the child anyway. Then slightly about fourth standard, fifth standard, little bit science is, some understanding of science is there. So I asked that girl, if you put a tube lamp, how much light you will get? No, this room will be lit. If it's a much bigger room, you need 2 tube lamps. Otherwise, that place is a little darker, this place is a little brighter. Then I asked, how many tube lamps are required to light the city of Bangalore? So, these girls started, I said, that's called lightning. One lightning, see the power. Man cannot make, there is no way. Why are you going that far? If you want air conditioning, this room, let us say, is 27 degrees, warm. Close all the doors. You want to bring it to 21. You can calculate how many tonnages of these ACs are required, and if you put 3 ton AC, it will take half an hour. You can do a thermodynamics calculation, and you have to close all the rooms, by all the windows, by the way. It's a closed system. Then my question is, what is the size of your tonnage of AC is required if you want to bring down the temperature of Bangalore by 6 degrees in 3 minutes? That's what some rain clouds will do. Now, this is, nature is balamiti vidyati. I see in every one of them, I see God. Man cannot replicate it. It's an open system, by the way. It's not a closed system. It's an open system. In thermodynamics, this open and closed system is a very important thing, no?
There is no pollution. no prions.
It's impossible. That is what we must remember. So nature is embodiment. God, if you want to see, you don't have to go anywhere. See nature. Nature is, every moment must remind us of God because it's mighty. So powerful. It's extraordinarily powerful. Lightning, rain, whatever we will talk about. That's what it is. Balamiti vidyuti. That's what it says. Yasha iti pashushu. It uses pashushu because this wealth and goodness and well-being, which is endowed, it's an endowment of resources. Who endowed all these resources in this world? That's why I keep saying again and again, man can only recreate. Man cannot create anything. Man can only recreate. You can take 2 things and make a third thing and get a IPO for it, or get a patent for it, and have a 15-year. All that we can do. But where from you did? Nature gave. Man cannot create any, not even a speck of dust man can create. Speck of dust also is God given. So that is what it is. So the Pashushu means the endowment of resources. When you see endowment of resources, see God there. So it has now gone from Adhyatmika, it has gone to Adi Daivika and Adi Bhautika. These are Adi Bhautika. It has gotten into the physical world. He says, you have to see God everywhere. See God in temple, you see in your Upasana, but see everywhere. Otherwise, where are you going? You are going nowhere. It's a dead end for you. That's why it says, Yasha iti Pashushu. Jyotihi iti nakshatreshu. This whole astronomical thing is truly astronomical. It takes 8 minutes for the light of sun to reach us. So the sun that we are seeing is an 8-minute-old sun. Astronomy is, if you want to get humbled, read a little astronomy. Or look at that and what are we talking? We are nowhere in this whole scheme of things. I don't know who created all. We can call it as Milky Way, this, that, all words we can give. You can say, black holes, white holes, all that we can say. But who created all these? Is there a machine running to do that? And what is that machine? That is divinity. So that's splendor of the night sky, thousands of stars gazing on the sky. Did you put a sodium vapor lamp there to do it? Your sodium vapor lamp will pale in comparison with that. So Jyotiriti Nakshatreshu, when you see the stars, see God, you get into trance. You should connect to the God and lose yourself. Why don't you try it? That's what it is saying. It is saying Jyotiriti Nakshatreshu. That's what Krishna also said. Balam Balavatam Asmi. Tejas Tejasvinamaham. Chapter 7. Beautiful. Balam balavatam asmi, tejas tejasvinamaham. If you see a tejas, if you see a tejas in a tejasvi, see me there, Arjuna. That's how you have to know God. Don't look God in many ways. God is around all the time. That is the same thing this mantra is also saying. He says, Jyotiriti nakshatreshu, prajati amritam anandam. This procreation process, this joy, this immortality and mortality, everything which is happening, genital is one organ which is being mentioned here. All these are divinity. Nothing is possible otherwise. So everywhere see divinity. That's what this mantra is saying. It's saying, Prajati Amritam Ananda Ityupaste Sarvam Ityakashe. I mean, I don't know, how can you measure this Akasha? I don't know whether you can take a tape and then say it. It's as astronomical as astronomy. We don't even know the start and end of this Akasha. And that Vyapti, moment we look at Akasha, we should be reminded of divinity. These are all Pratyaksha Brahman. These are Pratyaksha Brahman. Why are you waiting for some abstract ideas? They are Pratyaksha Brahman. Kshema iti vachi is a Pratyaksha Brahman. Gatiriti Padayoha is a Pratyaksha Brahman. Sarvam iti Akashe. In the moment you see Akasha, look at the charm of this creation. This whole creation is, the Akasha is a Sanketa for it. It is a proxy reminder that this world of norms and fame, Nama, Rupa, all this Prakriti is all divinity. That's what this all enclosing Akasha must tell us. So that's what this mantra is saying. Surya Narayana. It is coming. Yaschayam Purushe, Aso Aditya, all those are coming. It uses the very Aditya at the end. Yaschava Aditya Sayekah Saya Evam Vit. Surya Narayana is the most Pratyaksha Brahman that man can ever think of. That's why Sandhya Vandana was so important in our scheme of things. Sandhya Vandana is not time pass. Sandhya Vandana is the only, that's why all Varnas are supposed to do Sandhya Vandana. Sandhya Vandana, if people have any iota of gratitude, they should do Sandhya Vandana, because you live because of sun, you wear this dress because of sun, you eat because of sun, you eat, this table is because of sun, this light is because of sun, this electricity is because of sun, everything that you can think of is because of sun. That is the Pratyaksha Brahman. All others are unimportant to me. Pratyaksha Brahman is just Surya Narayana. We don't have to go around looking. Every moment of your life is made. Imagine if sun moves 4 inches away, I am told, I don't know physics and astronomy, I am told, if sun moves 2 inches away from us, we will all die of cold. Or if sun moves 2 inches near us, we will all burn of heat. It looks like such a delicate balance. I don't know, 2 inches maybe, or 2 feet, or 200 feet, or whatever. What a balance. What a balance on me. That's why in the second chapter it said, Mrityurdavati Panchamayiti. All these work in such a beautiful order. See that order as divinity. See the seasonal cycle as divinity. See sun as divinity. All that is what these two upasanas are saying. Now, after these two upasanas, it takes us to a final upasana in which he says, Yad bhavam tad bhavati. What you think, you will become like that. We'll see the mantra and continue the next class, but we'll see the mantra quickly and then we'll continue the next class. Tat pratishtetyupasita pratishtavan bhavati. Tan maha. That mahat. If you think that is mahat, you will become mahan. It says, Yad bhavam tad bhavati. You are what you are made of in terms of your thought process. Again, some English words, sentences are like that, equivalent sentences are there. That's what it says. Tat pratishtetyupasita pratishtavan bhavati. If you think this Akasha, which is the embodiment of Brahman, is the embodiment of supporter, you will be supported. That will happen to you. If you contemplate like that, if you see life like that, if you believe in it and do it, tat pratishtetyupasita pratishtavan bhavati. Tan maha ityupasita. If you think he is mahat, mahan bhavati. If you think he is great and the thought engulfs you, you will become great. Then all your things will also modify. Yad bhavam tad bhavati. It's an Upanishad Vakya anyway. Then he says, Tan mana ityupasita. Mahanavan bhavati. If you think this whole thing is nothing but this thinking mind, this manas is not it's a thinking faculty and the mind, you become very thoughtful in life. Mahanavan bhavati. He says, Tan mana ityupasita. Manavan bhavati. You will become thoughtful in life. That's what it is saying. It goes on. Tannama ityupasita namyante asme kamaha. It is something which is to be worshipped. It is this great thing which is worthy of worship, and you keep worshipping, all desires will start worshipping you. In a very figurative sense, the Shruti is bringing all these ideas. So he says, Tannama ityupasita namyante. You will be worshipped by whom? Who will be worshipped? Asmai, that person who did this upasana. And who will worship? Kamaha. Kamaha namyante asmai. That person will be worshipped by all desires, which means desires will be subjugated. That's all. That's all it means. That doesn't matter to you anymore. That will become an issue of, no longer an issue of things. We'll continue it in the next class. I thought I'll finish every week. I think this will I finish. It looks like it keeps going. And that's the charm of the Shruti. I thought it's going to finish, but it looks like it is going to go one more week. Hopefully we'll finish it next class. I don't know. Yeah, then we'll do one summary and all. Okay. Okay. Crashed.
You are thinking it is crashing, it is crashing. What is this?
had live stream going.
Huh?
The live stream and
Acha. Means locally it is saved, is what you are saying.
no, locally it's not saved, but
Oh, finally when you tried to save it, it crashed.
no, it went on and I brought it up again and again. So